sort of in the same vein, I want to ask a bit of a philosophical question. You know, there's expectation. Where there's hype, there's expectation, and where there's hype, those expectations are usually not met, right? Like, and there's plenty of hype around this topic, plenty of hype. There's an expectation, I think, among some folks that like this is going to be, you know, this is going to create incremental, I'm sorry, like great big giant leaps in speed and efficiency in drug discovery. So I want to ask sort of a philosophical question because Andrew, you know, Andrew gave some, I'd almost call them sobering kind of reflections on like, yeah, we're not there yet, friends. Like, let's give this a minute. But there comes a point where when we do get there, can we expect to see, I guess, what Andrew calls 0 to 1 versus 1 to 10 advances, right? Like, where are we now? Discuss this concept of 0 to 1 and 1 to 10 advances in computational and its impact on bio. Andrew, I'm going to invite you to comment on that first.
So sort of the 0 to 1 approach is something didn't exist before and then it exists, right? And then the 1 to 10 is sort of the improvement of that process as a general perspective. Once we start seeing more and more drugs coming to market that are AI generated and the costs are being driven down, and we assume, you know, under the assumption that the prices will also be driven down, that will be yet to be seen. I think the sort of the marked difference that's going to happen is that we're going to move from panacea to precision to personalized medicine, right? We're in a sort of state of panacea, right? Like everybody takes the same kind of things, right? If you have IBD, you get Humira, right? That's just the first drug you're given, but maybe there's, you know, Humira for Andrew, right? And I think that that's sort of where my hope is that sort of that 0 to 1 is that we're shifting from this this sort of repeated process to something more specific, more tailored for us. I think one of the big challenges with healthcare in general is that like we as patients are not treated as customers, right? And so I think that especially with what Recursion is doing, or all these little biopharma companies doing for different diseases that matter to them, their investors, the people that, you know, their patient cohorts, we'll get to see more opportunities for more medications to make it to the market. Because if we can industrialize the drug discovery and development process, it means we can have more medicines in the market. And that really is where I think the big opportunity lays. Now, in terms of sort of that I think is the kind of the 0 to 1 switch, as opposed to what we're doing right now is, at least from, you know, what I've seen, is making the system that we have right now more efficient, right? And one of the big hurdles for that is going to be the regulatory obstacles in the way there, right? So that's a bit about the way I think about it. I think we're really, like, right now, AI ML is in a 1 to 10 state, right? We're improving the efficiency of things. And so when do we see that 0 to 1 jump? Something we haven't seen before to something that we see now, as as a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. Tina, is that one you want to weigh in on? I want to get to data. We're already getting questions from the audience around data, and I know, like, data, boy, we got a lot to talk to about around data. But Tina, I just wondered if you wanted to weigh in on that.
Yeah, I think this question is a great question. How long does it take for a technology platform to change the world? Maybe is like the very hypey version of this question. And so, you know, I was at Genentech, and like in my point, there was about 25 years between the founding in Genentech and the tipping point. You know, Genentech was founded in 1976. The tipping point of, you know, revolutionizing with antibodies was in the early 2000s. Moderna, it took about a decade, right? If you think about the founding of Moderna, sRNA technology, to the pandemic, right, which provided this opportunity to revolutionize. We also think about companies like Netflix, right, a different industry, but once again, kind of scaling through technology and insights, or even Google Maps, right? And so I think the point of, you know, thinking about all these other technology platform companies is it does take some time, and the earliest versions of the technology are not the best versions of the technology. Google Maps is far better today than it was when it first launched. Same for Netflix. Same for, you know, just any technological revolution. And so what we have to look at is, are we on the right trajectory to keep getting better and better? And I think that's very much what we're seeing now. We do have, there's a great question earlier about when do we see things in the clinic. Recursion has multiple things in the clinic. Next year, we expect to get our first phase 2 efficacy reads out from the earliest versions of our technology. We do have novel in the clinic. We got our first phase 1 readout this year from a novelly designed small molecule in Clostridium difficile. Deeper in that, in our oncology pipeline, we're seeing multiple oncology assets coming up, including a recent partnership with Roche Genentech for an oncology asset. So I think you have to kind of watch what is coming up and the result of this technology, but realizing it still, by design, takes a lot of time to get something through the clinic, right? I would still not feel comfortable enough with this technology today to say that we can just skip all human trials and go straight to product, right? We still have to bridge the traditional industry and what these technologies are going to be informing for us.